All right, today we're gonna learn how to start building our paper mache project. First thing we're gonna do is get y'all set up for storage. So I'm gonna give you each a brown paper bag. I want you to, with this using a Sharpie, write your name on it and your period. Now, if you get one that has a name on it, erase that, just cross it off and put your name on top of it because we have used some of these before. And then I also want you to put your name on the side here. And you could do it on this side too. That way, because sometimes when we're in a hurry, we lose track of what we're doing, and that way it's on both sides. So I'm just putting my last name on that one. And then we're gonna slide them in on the shelf. That way at the beginning of each period, when you come in and get yours, you'll be able to see it right away. Freeze 1. So that would be period 1, freeze. And then you can just grab it off the shelf. So once you have that done, as you start making your pieces, you can put them in there. If you've got a reference, I might have printed one out for you, you might have printed one out for yourself. Keep that reference in here instead of your table folder because we don't really need to get the table folders out for this particular project. All right, so first thing we're gonna learn how to do is make, like how to mold shapes out of the paper. Because like I said, a lot of stuff you can do just out of the newspaper. So I'm gonna take one sheet of paper and then I'm gonna kind of wad it up. And as I'm wadding it, I want to try to get into a circular shape as you go. And like I said earlier, you want to really get it tight, like this. So I'm trying to kind of make it into a circle, like a snowball. I don't want to take a whole section and try to do that. If I take a whole section and try to do that, you're going to get all these nooks and crannies you're not going to be able to get rid of. So just one piece at a time. So if I was making something that's bigger than that, like the earth, then I might have to add another piece. So I'm not gonna put it on top and try to wad it. I'm gonna wad this up separately. I'm gonna wad a bunch of pieces up. So once they're wrinkly like this, they kind of mold a little bit better. Here's a half sheet, do the same thing with that. And then once you have that done, then you can kind of open them up and then start adding them onto the top of the circle. And then every time I do that, I am making that circle is getting a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. But as I do that, I want to check and make sure I'm still keeping it nice and round and circular too. Now, if I wanted to make something that was a half circle, I could work down on the table and try to keep the bottom flat, like so. Now, if I was making something like that I wanted to have pointy, I could try to kind of move this out. Let's say I want to make a nose, like a muzzle of an animal. I could try to bring this together and then take a little piece of tape and tape that and then have it come out like so. So we have the, like I was saying yesterday, we have the 2-inch tape, thicker tape, and then we have the 1-inch tape. If I was doing something big and flat, I would use the bigger tape. Something a little smaller, I would use the smaller tape. And then what I like to do is just get my tape out and ready. So I like to take a bunch of pieces and then just kind of put them out on the table like this so I can just get to them really fast. But don't let them, get all tangled up together. So I would just make like 10 of them and keep them here, and that'd be easy to access right here. So let's say I wanted to make let's say I was making an alligator. So I want to make like the top of the mouth and the bottom of the mouth. So I'll take a piece, kind of wad it up. I'm kind of curling it in and under to make the top of the head. Then I'll take this piece. So I'm just opening it up and then kind of forming it. I'm forming it as I build it. And I want to make this about the same height as this one. About the same size. And then when I put them together, see, it looks like an open mouth. So then I'm going to just start taping this. And you want to tape them up pretty securely. A little looser, because I'm just trying to get it now so it'll hold its shape. And then I'll work on the detail a little bit more as I get a little more done. And make sure that tape, I bought all this tape in 2019, so you might have to work a little bit at getting it to really stick. So you gotta press it down, make sure the edges are all down really well as you do this. Okay, so now Looks pretty like I started. Now you would spend some time getting all of this the rest of the way taped up for my demonstration. I'm not going to do that. But you can see how it's kind of come together. And then I might make his head, the top part of the head, that could kind of sit on, might sit on like this on the end of it. Straighten that out. But I can start molding it together. All right. Now let's say I wanted to do legs of something, and I wanted to use the technique where I'm twisting it. So I'm taking one big piece of newspaper. Now this is pretty long. You might not need something this long. And I'm just going to fold it over just a little bit at first, and then I'm going to roll it. So we're rolling the paper as tight as we can get it. Now when I add tape to this, it will make it even tighter. So this, now I can't, now remember, if I have something rolled like this, I'm not going to be able to curve it. I could bend it so I could make like a rectangular form, but I can't bend it to make it like, I can't arc it. So let's say that's not big enough. Then again, add another piece over the top of it. Now I just like to really twist it to get it tight. And then you just keep adding more and more to make it a little bigger and a little bit bigger. And then you would, again, take a little bit of tape. As you go, if you need to take a little bit of tape to hold it together, you can. So that would be the rolling technique. Now let's say I wanted to make something that I want to be able to arc. So that I'm going to use some newspaper and I'm going to twist it. So here's my piece of paper. Now this one's not going to be real thick. Let's say I was making like the whiskers of something. So I'm just going to take my newspaper and just start twisting it. I'm starting from the center. It doesn't really matter though. And as I'm twisting it, I'm arcing it. So I can get a nice arc. If I wanted to make like a peace sign or a tail, a cat tail or something. If I want to make a tail and keep it fluffy, I could keep the end of that a little thicker like that. Or I could, if I was making a dinosaur, I could kind of fold that into a triangular shape. And again, as you go, add a little bit of tape to hold it together. Now, if this is a little bit too thick, then you want to use maybe a half a sheet of newspaper to get a little thinner. And again, as you do this, like if I was writing out my name, I could mold this into the shape as I'm kind of twisting it up too. So like if I wanted a nest, I would just keep going, keep molding. So that's how you do that. Let's say I wanted to do a folded, like let's say I wanted to do a dress or something. So I'm going to take a bigger section of newspaper, or a wing, let's say. This might be good here. You want it to be fairly thick. You don't want it to be too thin. And then I'm going to draw out my wing. Now you can, you know, draw out whatever you want. And then I'm going to take some scissors and I cut that. Now as I cut it, it's going to kind of unravel. So make sure as you're cutting it that you're holding it together. So you might cut like one section and then tape it. Like I could cut that and then put a little bit of tape right here, down here to hold it, because this is going to end up being like 20 pieces of paper. And they'll all fall apart if you're not careful. Because they're only taped on the outside. The inside pieces aren't really taped there. All right, now, once I have that done, again, I'm gonna put another little piece of tape on this side to hold it all together. And then I'm gonna take some tape now. I'm gonna take the bigger tape this time, because I'm doing this nice and flat. It's hard to get this tape started. Okay, so it's gonna look like I'm just taping it down to my table here, but I'm gonna tape it, and then I'm gonna overlap the next piece just a little bit, because I don't wanna waste tape. I don't want you just wrapping the tape around like that. It's gonna waste the tape. You only need to have one sheet per like little area. So don't waste my tape. And at the end of the class, we're not putting the tape in your table folders. You're gonna turn the tape back in. I got a lot of tape. I just wanna collect it every day. I don't want to leave it in the folders. Now I'm gonna tape it from this side. So I just took it off, flipped it over. And as you tape, you'll see through the tape and you'll be able to see your edge. And then eventually, once I get this taped, I'm going to just seal up my edge real well with my fingers. And then I'm gonna cut it out, but I wanna leave a little area of tape for it to tape down to. So you can see as I hold this up, my thing is in there. And I'm just gonna take my nail, I'm gonna go all the way around the edge to make sure it's taped securely. And then I don't wanna tape, when I cut it, I can't cut right up to this edge. And you can kind of see the thickness of it there too. I don't want to tape right up to the edge because there's be nothing that will be sealing it. So I'm leaving just a little border, kind of like if I was cutting out lamination. So if you need to hold it up to the light so you can see, do that. And then once I cut this out, now this is going to be flat, but once I cut it out, you'll see that I can make it, I'll be able to make it 3D a little bit more. Okay, so then this looks good. Now if I wanted to make two of them, if this was one and I was making wings and I needed two, I could lay this down, I could trace it, use this as a pattern, trace it to make my next one. Now let's say I want to make this a little more 3D. I can take my scissors, cut a little notch in it, and then kind of fold that over and see how it brings that up and out. I could do the same thing on this side. Now, when I only take the cut in that far, I'm only going to be able to crimp it this much. If I take the cut in a little bit further, like to the center, I'll have more of it'll go all the way into the center, so it'll just change the shape of it. If it was here, it's going to keep it flatter, and so I'm going to curve up the edge. This one kind of curves it all up from the center. And then if I cut this one, see how I'm getting it three-dimensional? I can tape it. Or you can use the hot glue gun too. I've plugged in my hot glue guns. You could always use the hot glue gun sometimes to do these two. And I add another little piece here. Like so. Okay, so that's kind of cool, and you can add all kinds of shapes. Like if I was doing a flower, I could do flower petals like this or leaves like this. If I was doing a dress, I could do a dress like this. Just make sure when you tape them down that you don't lose the details. I'm gonna get one thing out of my class. I'm gonna show you one more thing. All right, so here are all kinds of things that other kids have made. Like here's a car. It's really cool how they made that. And when they taped this off, they didn't leave the details. He moved, so I got to keep it. Here's some flower petals. You see how I cut them like that. This would have been a dress. So it was made flat like so. And then this came over and this came over. And then I think they put it around like a bottle of some sort to make it 3D. A bunch of flower petals. Here's a person. Remember when I was saying I don't want them to be flat? So you don't want to look like a truck run over somebody. So if I kind of open this up and stuff it with newspaper, it makes it a little more three-dimensional and it makes it stand up on its own. Here's the frame for the car. It's a little old because it's been in my bag for a while. A seahorse. They got a nice start on that. Oh, here's Harry the platypus. They started a long time ago. Just make sure you guys, when you're taping this stuff up, that you don't want to lose your details. So if I'm adding a piece of tape on something like this, when I'm trying to tape the legs on, you don't want to go like straight across because you're changing the shape. You need to have that little seam in there. So you want to kind of get it to go right on in there. If you need to get a pencil out, just kind of poke it in there, or a pair of scissors will work sometimes. But we want to keep those little details. We don't want to, if like this bracelet, we want to see it later. So if I was to take a piece of tape and just go over it like this, you're not seeing that anymore. I've lost it. Like you won't want to put an eye on like that either. So like something like that, you might just hot glue on and then you'll still see that. And then when we go to paper mache it, you'll keep that little detail in there. Otherwise, when you're taping it up, you want to kind of use your nails or a pair of scissors or something to not lose that little bit of detail. All right, so we're gonna start building them. Have fun. I'll come around and help as I can. Thank you.